Hi, I'm at a celebration. What are we celebrating? The anniversary of Texas independence. I am at Washington on the Brazos, and they are having a celebration today celebrating Texas Declaration of Independence. And I'm going to go in here and see what's going on. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Are you demonstrating something, or you're actually washing dishes?
Actually washing the dishes. We had a dinner program over there just a few minutes ago.
Oh, so dinner's over with.
Yes.
Story of my life.
Yes.
It's either yesterday or tomorrow. But y'all cooked the old-fashioned way, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these fine folks in here prepared the food for us.
What was for dinner?
Oh, there was some ham, some fried oysters, bread, a ginger cake, boiled potatoes, cabbage with bacon on top.
So foods that they would have eaten in the mid-1800s.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Very nice. Can I go in there and look around?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, something smells good.
Just reheating some leftovers.
Are you the cook?
Well, I'm the cook's assistant.
What's your name?
My name is Becky.
Becky, I'm making a YouTube video to kind of document the celebration we're having here today. Do you mind that?
Not at all.
Can I clip that on you for a minute?
Sure.
So what happened here today?
Well, Texas, they're celebrating the day, the signing of Texas's Declaration of Independence when
Yes,
they
ma'am.
became their own.
I understand. I'm talking about the food,
Oh.
the meal that was.
Yes. Well, some of the meal, oyster croquettes and some onion soup and different things were cooked outside on the fire. And what we did here is boil the potatoes and the peas and everything. And yesterday we made a ginger cake.
Ginger cake.
And let it cool overnight, and that's also.
Oh, now the help gets to eat, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it should be.
Yes.
You know, you work hard, you deserve to get fed.
We're
Well,
not one of those fancy people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're eating just like they did about let's see, how many years ago would it have been? Let's see.
Just yesterday.
No.
Yeah, we were there, but
when
we
the
aged
Declaration of Independence was against
That was 76.
independence of Mexico.
Mexico, 1835.
1835, 1935, so 190 years, is that right?
Pretty
Are you
close,
saying
yes.
we're old?
But
Sorry?
Are you saying we're old?
Oh, no.
well, we are,
We
but
are.
we look
We're-
well.
Well, I remember when it was
To
the Bible.
us, it's 1835.
Oh, well, you
Yeah.
look it. I
Yeah.
think
That's what
it's
the
really
kids say
cool
when
that
I-
y'all have addressed to the time period and everything, and are doing this.
Yeah,
And
we
that
cooked
may be
to
the
the
food of the
period.
mid-1800s, but it looks pretty delicious to me.
Yes. Well, they had
It is
good
delicious.
food back there, and depending on what their crops yielded and what they could get, you know, they cooked and they ate. They had to survive. So
You know, there was a lot of game around here, so if they could
Yes.
hunt, they could eat.
a lot more than there
Yeah.
is now, of course. But yep, and they would grow a lot of their food, and hopefully they would have a good year, because then they would have to prepare the meat and the vegetables and whatever fruit they had for through the winter. And they didn't get a lot of
Right.
fruit, but
Try to preserve it as much as
Yes.
they could.
yes. So there is a smokehouse out there
Yeah.
where they would hang the meat to smoke it and preserve it and salt it and everything so it would last.
Yeah.
And
So you had a nice bed of coals there and some cast iron to cook with.
yes,
Very nice.
and these Dutch ovens right here, these are not ours, but this
Yeah.
is what we cook the ginger cake in.
Yep.
And the
You ever eat
princi-
any biscuits cooked in a Dutch oven?
Oh yes,
Can't
we've
beat 'em.
done- Yeah.
Awesome.
And do they understand the principle of the Dutch oven? You know, you put the hot coals
Yes, ma'am.
underneath
And on top.
and on
You're
top
right.
to get the heat distributed evenly.
Yeah.
Way back when.
I found a frontiersman.
A frontiersman,
And
you're
there's been
right.
3 generations of us
And you
doing
are
this.
My name is Todd.
Todd.
Yeah, and I have a YouTube channel called Todd Saw, and I'm making a YouTube video about the celebration they're having here today.
Well, there's a lot of different things going on, and coming into a civilized area.
Just hold it up by there. It's a microphone.
Oh, coming into a civilized area, I would not have brought my frontier equipment with me. So what I have, I'm carrying my more ornate knife.
Yes.
This is a coffin-handled bowie.
All right.
These were given out sometimes as presentations to various people by Jim Bowie's brother, Reason Bowie.
Yep, I've read a lot about Jim Bowie
Okay.
and his brother and all that they went through and what happened to him.
Well, of course, he sacrificed himself there at the Alamo, and
Yeah.
even before that, he was a land speculator here in Texas, and he was very controversial because some of the deeds he sold actually had land to go along with them.
Yeah.
But it's very nice talking to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very
And I
much.
hope you have a good day out here.
And you do this because you have some history here,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
not only do you like history, you have some lineage here.
Yes, one of my ancestors supposedly owned some land east of the river over here,
Yep.
and supposedly was in the Washington Guard as an older gentleman. When he was at San Jacinto, he was guarding the women and children and the baggage. Did not take part in the fighting.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you doing this.
Thank you.
It's very nice.
See you later.
Have a great day. Italian bushcraft cooking. There you go. See, we were doing that stuff in Texas back in 1836. Back in the day, I guess, as we call it. There's some bacon still left over. And look, wash your clothes in a wash tub if you had one, maybe in the river. Make your little clothesline and hang your duds out to dry, right? Get your bloomers clean. Got a tent over here. Tent with a little cot. Cookie's Kitchen. I don't think they have smash burgers here. I think that's pewter cups and brass cups and tin cups. You used what they had, right? And I'd like to hear what this looks like. What I've seen in movies is sort of a military type tent, like where cavalry or scouts or people might stay when they were out and about.
Moderation is a link so far lost by those in power that even the symbols of freedom is removed. And the forms themselves of the Constitution
How you doing?
Fine. How about yourself, sir?
Good.
so far from their petition.
Is that your chicken?
Yes, sir.
That chicken's looking pretty good.
I'm hoping it's nice and tasty later.
Bear them are thrown into dungeons, and mercenary armies sent forth to force a new
I'll have some coffee too, huh?
I do. Of bayonet. When, in consequence of such acts of malfeasance and abdication on the part of the government, anarchy prevails, and civil society is dissolved into its original elements. In such a crisis, the first law of nature, the right of self-preservation,
I'm not sure, but
the
I think he's
inherent
reading
and
the
inalienable
Texas
rights of the
Declaration of
people
Independence.
to appeal to first principles and take their political affairs into their own hands in extreme cases, enjoins it as a right towards themselves and a sacred obligation to their posterity to abolish such government and create another in its stead, calculated to rescue them from impending dangers and to secure their future welfare and happiness. Nations, as well as individuals, are amenable for their acts to the public opinion of mankind. A statement of a part of our grievances is therefore submitted to an impartial world. In justification of the hazardous but unavoidable step now taken of severing our political connection with the Mexican people and assuming an independent attitude among the nations of the earth. The Mexican government, by its colonization laws, invited and induced the Anglo-American population of Texas to colonize its wilderness under the pledged faith of a written constitution, that they should continue to enjoy that constitutional liberty and republican government to which they had been habituated in the land of their birth, the United States of America. In this expectation, they have been cruelly disappointed, inasmuch as the Mexican nation has acquiesced in the late changes made in the government by General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, who, having overturned the constitution of his country, now offers us the cruel alternative, either to abandon our homes acquired by so many privations, or submit to the most intolerable of all tyranny, the combined despotism of the sword and the priesthood. It has sacrificed our welfare to the state of Coahuila, by which our interests have been continually depressed through a jealous and partial course of legislation carried on at a far distant government by a hostile majority in an unknown tongue. And this too, notwithstanding, we have petitioned in the humblest terms for the establishment of a separate state government, and have, in accordance with the provisions of the National Constitution, presented to the General Congress a Republican Constitution which was, without just cause, contemptuously rejected. It incarcerated in a dungeon for a long time one of our citizens, for no other cause but a zealous endeavor to procure the acceptance of our Constitution and the establishment of a state government. It has failed and refused to secure on a firm basis the right of trial by jury, that palladium of civil liberty, and only safe guarantee for the life, liberty, and property of the citizen. It has failed to establish any public system of education, although possessed of almost boundless resources, the public domain. And although it is an axiom in political science that unless a people are educated and enlightened, it is idle to expect the continuation of civil liberty or the capacity for self-government. It has suffered the military commandants stationed among us to exercise arbitrary acts of oppression and tyranny, thus trampling upon our most sacred rights and rendering the military superior to the civil power. It has dissolved by force of arms the state Congress of Coahuila and Texas, and obliged our representatives to fly for their lives from the seat of government, thus depriving us of the fundamental political right of representation. It has demanded the surrender of a number of our citizens and ordered military detachments to seize and carry them into the interior for trial, in contempt of the civil authorities and in defiance of the laws and the Constitution. It has made piratical attacks upon our commerce by commissioning foreign desperadoes and authorizing them to seize our vessels and convey the property of our citizens to far distant ports for confiscation. It denies us the right of worshiping the Almighty according to the dictates of our own conscience, by the support of a national religion calculated to promote the temporal interests of its human functionaries rather than the glory of the true and living God. It has demanded us to deliver up our arms, which are essential to our defense, the rightful property of freemen and formidable only to tyrannical governments. It has invaded our country both by sea and by land with intent to lay waste our territory and drive us from our homes, and has now a large mercenary army advancing to carry on against us a war of extermination. It has, through its emissaries, incited the merciless savage with the tomahawk and scalping knife to massacre the inhabitants of our defenseless frontiers. It hath been, during the whole time of our connection with it, the contemptible sport and victim of successive military revolutions, and hath continually exhibited every characteristic of a weak, corrupt, and tyrannical government. These and other grievances were patiently borne by the people of Texas, until they reach that point at which forbearance ceases to be a virtue. We then took up arms in defense of the national Constitution. We appealed to our Mexican brethren for assistance. Our appeal has been made in vain. Though months have elapsed, no sympathetic response has yet been heard from the interior. We are therefore forced to the melancholy conclusion that the Mexican people have acquiesced in the destruction of their liberty and the substitution, therefore, of a military government, that they are unfit to be a free people and incapable of self-government. The necessity of self-preservation, therefore, now decrees our eternal political separation. We, therefore, the delegates with plenary powers of the people of Texas, in solemn convention assembled, appealing to a candid world for the necessities of our condition, do hereby resolve and declare that our political connection with the Mexican nation has forever ended, and that the people of Texas do now constitute a free, sovereign, and independent republic, and are fully invested with all the rights and attributes which properly belong to independent nations. And, conscious of the rectitude of our intentions, we fearlessly and confidently commit the issue to the decision of the supreme arbiter of the destinies of nations. Thank you.
Good job.
Load the charge. Pigtail out.
Charge is loaded with pigtail out.
Ram the charge.
Charge rammed.
Pick and prime. Brick the charge. Load primer. Hot tube. Fire in the hole. Fire in the hole. Prepare to fire. Ready. Fire. Clear the bit. Clear. Thumb stall. Worm the tube.